Hello everyone, you're watching Sightline. Today we've invited Zoljargal Purevdash, film director, CEO and founder of Amygdala Films, to talk to us. Zoljargal, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So today let's talk about Stairs short film, which is an inclusively made. And Stairs has now qualified for Academy Awards entry in the short film category after winning the award at the Chicago International Children's Film Festival, which is an Oscar qualifying film festival. Congratulations on this, and can you tell us how all of this started?
Well, Stairs is a 12-minute short film. It is made between the great collaboration of Arts Council Mongolia and the Australian non-government organization Bust of Films, and it is inclusively made. We first inclusively made Mongolian short film, which means we had 18 people who is living with intellectual disability, and they were in our film crew, and we made this film together. And Art Council Mongolia and Basta Films run the program called We Are Talented, and this is a program that teaches filmmaking to the people with intellectual disability, and we teach during a whole 1 year. And the Stairs is a great product that comes from this program.
So you trained 18 people with disabilities to work in the film production for a whole year, and you are the film director. So not only does the film tell the story of a life and passions of a young man who is living with disability, the film actually also won the Best Screenplay Award at this year's Cinefest Aussie in Australian Film Festival. So could you share about the plot? How was the screenplay written?
Well, Arts Council of Mongolia announced the competition of a script. The script must have a theme of people who are living with the disability. Then we chose a story called Stairs, and it was written by one of a young script writer called Hange. Then we get that story idea, and also me and our producer Genevieve Clay-Smith and another young script writer Namengirten, we co-wrote this subject and this script.
Yes. So there are a number of people with intellectual disability that worked in the making of the film, and most of the people had Down syndrome. So could you tell us how was it like to work with the people with this kind of disability?
Well, I would like to say there were not that much difference to work with them because they have a disability, because they can do any job if we teach them very respectfully. So they did the assistant director, assistant gaffer, assistant cinematographer, and assistant to the producer. Well, it requires some time to them to do their work, but it requires just a lot of love from you, and a lot of kindness and belief from our film crew. And we teach them how to do all the works. We did the mentoring, and they were doing great. So I think there isn't any recipe to work with them. It's just communicate with them and believe them they can do it. Then everything will go just amazing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, as you said, your Amygdala Film collaborated with Arts Council of Mongolia and also Australia's Bust of Films NGO, and to make this short film. So that of course it meets the international film production standards. So could you share us what it was like to work with foreign partners, and also like what international filmmaking standards are there that has to be met?
Yes, and the Stairs is a co-production between Mongolia and Australia, and we had 3 Australian crew come from Australia. Our main producer Genevieve Clay-Smith, and our associate producer Sarah Jane Johnson, and our cinematographer Liz Vernon. They came to Mongolia, and they involved in the film project from the distance. They came in person, and what I learned most is how they scheduling the film shooting, because they were scheduling every moment, which was unimaginable for me to follow. But it really goes wonderful to scheduling that precisely. And also all the post-production is made in Australia. So our producer took all the footage to Australia, and before even the pandemic started, we did the post-production through online. Yeah, and our Australian editor did the workshop to our participants, and we did the online class of editing, and we teach how to do the editing to our participants of our program. Yeah.
So in the post-production, also people with disabilities worked online.
Our editor teaches how to do the editing. So our students were there and seeing how he's doing the editing, and also giving their ideas, you know, how they prefer to cut the film. You know, we did the workshop.
Yeah. Okay. Could you tell us about your work experience and also your educational background? Did you have any prior experience of working with people with disabilities?
Yes. I graduated film school in Japan, and while I was studying there, I worked as a home helper to the women who are living with a disability, and it was my part-time job, and I do all the home helping works for them. And you know, as going to the Japan is a really developed country, and a lot of great, you know, environments and a lot of accessible places, and even the government cares a lot about all these disabled people and giving them chances to work and socialize. And it was really amazing for me to see as a student, and I always amazed. So then I come back to my own country and see our situation and how the people are giving chances to the people with disability to socialize, even from the, you know, normal the stairs of the buildings. There isn't any barrier-free stairs, you know. Yes. And all those environment was kind of shocking for me, and I wanted to do something, and I wanted to change all these things. Then I had this chance to make this film, and I loved the script, and I loved the way of its making, because what I realized from this Japanese history of this great accessible environment, it's all those disabled people, they themselves go out and they demand their rights. Yes. To, you know, to socialize, to do works. It's not the people going to say things. It's they themselves shout out for themselves. So this short film Stairs, I see it as a chance to give shout out disabled people by themselves, and it is made by intellectual disabled people, and they can work on film set. They can make films if we give chance. Then it's a story about a man who is living in a wheelchair, a man who wants to become a barber, a man who wants to work, a man who wants to socialize. So it's, for me, it's kind of big shout out to our society to give an equal chances for them to, you know, to involve in this active socialized life, you know. So I loved this idea, and then it worked so well. We did a wonderful film, and the audience loved this film, and we are winning awards from Oscar qualifying festivals. Now we are even doing Oscar entry, which is so unexpected and unbelievable, but all this desire to tell our story, tell their story, and all this purpose to prove that they can work, they can do anything if we give chance. And this is, and people see it and people understand it. So I'm really looking forward where this film could go and what kind of impact it could bring to our society. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. You said you worked in Japan assisting a person with disability, but just personally I would say that if the stairs was made in Japan, it would be like totally different, because in Mongolia's life, our surroundings and environment is totally different to other countries, like developed countries. From the perspective of the main character, the guy who wants to become a barber, we get the chance to see what kind of struggles does a person with a disability face in their day-to-day life. Could you tell us more about the struggles that the disabled people have in their lives, particularly in Mongolia, but also in the rest of the world?
Well, I would. Our main character in a film lives in Gir district,
Yes.
and you know there's no running water or heating system, and it locates quite far from the city center, and there isn't any cement roads,
Yes.
so it makes situation more hard for the people who has a mobility disability, and I wanted to talk about that specifically.
Sure.
We have only chance to go to the city center by bus, but even in our public bus, there isn't, any ways to get the people who lives in a wheelchair.
Yes.
And
How do you
just
get
from
on
the
bus?
first step,
No.
just from the first, desire to go to the city center, there's stairs. It's the first stairs on the bus and the stairs on all the buildings, and there isn't, very muddy roads, and so it's really unfair, and it's given people. It's because of it, people are staying at home, and even though they can work so well, and I think it is happening to any other countries, but we have to say this, we have to talk about it, and then it will change, because if you're not close to the people with disability, or if you're not living in this disability, you just don't see it. So through this film, through art, through media, we should talk more about it. It's not because we want them to live in this hard, inaccessible environment. It's just, we just don't see it, we just don't notice it. So I want people to talk more about it. Then we can, develop all these environments just like, any other developed countries. Yes.
Okay, so the actor who played in the main role, was he an actor? How did you find the actor, and how did you decide to cast him?
Yeah. Well, our main character, his name is Davasure, and he's a non-actor. And as our this belief making this film inclusively, we also wanted to cast authentically. We don't want any actor to act about the people who lives in a wheelchair. We just didn't want that. We want to tell this story honestly. So our main cast must be the person who knows all these struggles and pains, and who embraces all this. So we did the casting call on a Facebook, and we posted our casting call on the group, the people who are living with a disability. Then our main character, Davasuran, called us, and we go and we met him, and he was the person I was looking for, who is very positive, very energetic, and very warm and kind. And there's one dialogue in my script. It's like, I will find a way. And he drives a car. He made his own car drivable by just hands, and he was the man who found a way. So I'm like, oh, it's him. So we casted him, and it was so right casting. Yeah.
I will find a way.
I will find a way. Also,
So
we must find a way.
Yes,
There's always a way.
Yeah. Could you tell us about some of the maybe most memorable things that happened during the production, during the making of the film?
The most memorable thing for me, we had child actors.
And how many child? Three.
There was 4 child actors, and then they were 12. They were 12 to 14 years old girls, and our protagonist's sister Rose. I was really worried whether she could cry, and she had to cry in this film. And while I was casting her, she was very sensitive and talented girl. Also, she cares a lot about these problems that the disabled people are facing and all this. She was very, hurt how people are discriminating them. And so I casted her. And while the scene she had to cry, I was worried whether she could cry or not. But she really cried from the bottom of her heart, because well, I told her, how would you feel if you were disabled and you went to the place to learn something and you fall from the stair and you're not able to, what do you feel? Then she was like, "Wah!" And we did the 3, almost 4 takes, and she was keep on crying. And great actors. She also had this passion to tell this story, how these stairs are becoming very big barrier, even though it looks very normal thing, but how it's stopping people. And so her desire made her cry, that, all those acting comes from the bottom of her heart, and it was very unforgettable moment for me. Same with all our crew members. We all wanted to prove our participants can work, our participants can do anything, because they're talented. So we all had this, love and passion about this theme and about this film.
Yeah, thank you. It's very nice to hear. And our time has actually come to an end. And is there anything that you'd like to say to our audience at the end?
Well, we teach filmmaking to the 18 people who had intellectual disability, and they worked so great. And our film's name is Stairs. Stairs is maybe the great tool to take you to the top, but sometimes it stops people, especially the people who are living with disability. And also the stairs is, something that you have to overcome. And so I would like to tell audience that we have to, give more chances. We have to believe we believe and advocate the people who are living with disability, and we all have to do something to give more equal, inclusive, accessible society. And there's some bunch of filmmakers from Australia and Mongolia just proved that film industry can be more inclusive. So I would like to tell our audiences that any industry can be more inclusive, and we just have to believe and advocate and support.
Thank you very much. Every industry can be inclusive.
Yes, definitely. So
Zoljargal, thank you for coming to our studio and talked about this wonderful film, Stairs.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've watched Sightline. Today we talked to Zoljargal Purevdash, film director of Stairs short film. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.